Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Ukulele on the Ground podcast. My name is Aldrine Guerrero. Joining me are Mr. Aaron, the voice, Nakamura. Say what's up, Aaron.
What's up?
And Mr. Kahai, the legend, Fergan. Say what's up, Kahai.
What's up?
Gentlemen, we are finally back in this chair and not for a jam, just to talk story and stuff. How's it going? I feel like it's been ages, Kai, but we were here just last week.
Yeah. Of course.
Yeah, talking about our favorite, favorite episodes, favorite videos that we've done Ukulele on the Ground.
Yeah.
We were told, but it feels like longer than forever.
It was just a normal week, right?
Yeah, totally normal. And we had a jam on Friday. I missed you folks. I really did. I really missed sitting in this chair and just talking to you guys in this room and to you folks watching at home and to you folks listening in from whatever podcast device that you use to listen to podcasts. I really missed just talking story because I like it. This is like my favorite. Yes, I love Fridays where like we can kind of ham it up and play music and whatever. But this is nice to just kind of have some discussions and see like what people have to say, right? So what we do here in the Ukulele on the Ground podcast is we answer any and all of your questions. If you ask a question, because we are live, you can ask them via live chat. You can email it over to us. You can email us videos. If you're like, hey, am I doing this wrong? You can do that as well, and we can take a look at it, and we can fix whatever problem that you may have. So you give me your question, or you give it to Kahai. Kahai relays it over to me. I'll try my best to give you my 2 cents, and these guys will give their 2 cents, and we'll come up with the best 6-cent answer just for you. Right, Kahai?
Yes.
Gentlemen. What do you guys want to talk about?
I guess it's out of the bag.
We actually weren't here. Oh my God! No surprise. We actually were not here.
I know. If we couldn't tell,
Oh man, I've been holding that in for so long. So sorry, everyone. So sorry to pull the old switcheroo on you folks and put up a pre-recorded podcast 2 weeks in a row.
If you're fooled, can you leave it in the comments saying like, "Oh, the guys got me."
Oh yeah, please, and like, and be honest, okay? Like, if we honestly,
be honest. Wink. Don't lie.
Let us know if you were fooled. But yeah, we actually flew back from an Italian tour. So we were over in Monopoli in Italy, and it was an amazing time. We flew back last week Tuesday. We got back here on Kauai last week Tuesday. We flew out Monday over in Europe. We took a 12-hour flight to San Francisco. And then we stayed overnight in San Francisco because it was too late. And then we took another 6-hour plane ride back home to Hawaii. Oh, wait. We went from Bali, took an hour flight to Rome. It wasn't that long, right? It took an hour flight to Rome. And then from Rome to San Francisco, overnight stay from San Francisco to Kauai. But at least it was San Francisco to Kauai. It wasn't like San Francisco to Oahu. Then we had to wait like another 2 hours on Oahu and then come home. It's like, no, I'm hungry now. I got to eat like $20 Burger King at like Honolulu Airport, But it was all good. It's all good. I had an amazing time. So we were up there for the Monopolele. It's the Mediterranean Ukulele Festival that's held in Monopoli, Italy. It was, like I said, it was an amazing time. Like, where do we begin? How do we begin this?
Yeah. Before I guess you guys jump straight into it, I did have a question for you.
Sure. Let's do that.
So what was your favorite non-ukulele related thing from Italy, or what was your favorite food?
Non-ukulele related thing. My favorite non-ukulele related, like food or just
anything. But I thought
something
food
that
could
happened that's non-ukulele related.
I thought if you couldn't think of anything, then you could just say like, "Oh, my favorite thing was this food" or whatever.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, whatever.
Well, my non-ukulele related like playing, so there's so much. Like once we get into it, you'll understand why. Because it was definitely filled with ukulele. Like the whole time we were there, ukulele was somewhat involved, or like ukulele people was somewhat involved. I think, the non-ukulele playing thing that I loved the most was just the camaraderie between everybody. Like everyone who came out for the festival, everyone who was not only an attendee but the artists that participated in the festival. Everybody came in with just the best intentions, and I think like everyone was hanging out as if we were like old friends. These are people I've met for the very first time in my life. I think I only really knew Luca from Aquila, and Lorenzo from Ukulele. Yeah, Ukulele, Lorenzo. That was it. Everyone else, like I've met Pete Moss like once. Some I think it was the Ukulele Ukulele Festival in the UK somewhere. And other than that, I've met everybody for the first time. So it is kind of ukulele related because there's uke people, but we weren't jamming or anything. We were just having fun. I think like just the fact that like
if you take ukulele out of it, they're just good company and
it's
good
just
people.
good company. That was
and it
honestly
felt
my
like
favorite.
you knew them.
Yes,
That's
yes,
cool. That's cool.
And it was like we wasted no time because we knew that we were gonna be there for only a week, so we didn't waste time like trying to be like, oh hey, like, just trying to get to know each other. No, we were like cracking jokes like the first like 10-15 minutes of meeting like everybody. It was a good time, and like even the organizers Salvo and Mauro, like they felt like old friends. Like we met up with them for dinner like the first night, and lo and behold, we were talking like we were old friends. I haven't met Kathy Fink and Marcy Markser, but at that dinner, same thing. Like we were just talking like we knew each other for years, So like it's that was my favorite non-ukulele thing, but with ukulele people. Like I think just the camaraderie and how everybody could gather and just be like old friends.
Was there a standout food?
The standout, oh man.
Okay, and Aaron, what about you? If you gotta think about
one favorite non-ukulele thing.
I
Right?
I don't know exactly how much I'm gonna divulge on this podcast, but yeah, it was sort of another spiritual journey for me. But I guess just in general, that town, Monopoli, is like
you would like visit that place without even going for the festival or anything. Like,
hands down. Yeah.
I mean, I don't think I would have ever visited that town otherwise if not for the festival. But it's just a great, like really where we stayed within that town. It was like the old part of the town. So a lot of old buildings, like our apartments were right in the center of like the old buildings. I was like maybe 100 yards away from like the nicest church, like the flagship church,
that's very cool.
of the town
really nice.
with
really nice.
with like the famous Baroque painting of Mother Mary and Jesus, like that was plastered, like that painting was plastered everywhere in the town because it's so famous, and that was like next door to me.
But the original was at that
right
church.
next door to me. And so just I don't know, the vibe. I kept describing it as like what Disney or Universal Studios would create in order to like depict Italian seaside town, right? It's exactly that, except there are people actually living there.
Like if the movie Luca had like a spot in like in Disneyland, it would look just like that. Basically. Right?
Or I've seen people like go to Italy, right? And then they're like, this is like Porco Rosso, right? Is like based off of Italy and stuff. And they're like, I feel like I've seen this in like Ghibli movies.
Like, the place was called Porto Rosso. That's legit. Like
one of the beaches close by
was called Porto Rosso.
That's very cool.
It's insane. Yeah, and like. And I was showing my wife like this kind of walking around video that I did, and that spot where you turn and it's like the port where like in the middle of Old Town, you just take a turn and it's like the opening to like to the port and the water and stuff, and it kind of reminded my wife of like that that part in the movie Luca where like they emerge out of the water and go to the town. It was
basically
that it was insane. It was so beautiful. Like I've been to the northern part of Italy. That's his own thing. You know what I mean? Like it is what Venice is his own thing. Like Rome is his own thing. Monopoli is his own thing. And being somebody from from an island and I went from one island to another island in my life. The Philippine Islands and then now Hawaiian Islands. Like I just felt more at home, like in the southern part with like in a port town, just seeing the water and seeing people in the water because there were people actively swimming in the beaches and stuff. It was amazing. Like loved it. But that was my vibe. I loved it so much. Like I think,
nice.
Nothing against the northern part, but I think southern Italy now it's just that's the spot. I was telling my wife like we gotta go. Like we gotta go.
I think, or it's like people, they go to Oahu. Some people really like Oahu and like how it's still like a city, but also being a part of Hawaii.
Yeah.
But then people come to Kauai or like the outer islands, and then they're like, "Oh, that is what I actually envision Hawaii being."
That's the vibe, that. Yeah. So I just clicked with Monopoli or just that area, body, like all that southern part of Italy in general. It was really good. Food was awesome. So. I don't know, that first night that I described when we went out with Mauro and Salvo and Kathy and Marcy, like that was the best like vegetarian-ish food like that I've ever had, I think. Like down to just fried cucumbers or what was that?
Zucchini.
Like zucchini? It was like, what is in this,
Yeah, it was great.
It was pretty darn good. It was really good. But we had like there was mussels or like oysters. That was no mussels. I think mussels was really good. But yeah, it was like a vegetarian meal because Kathy is vegetarian, right?
Yeah. So, but there were, the mussels or
but
and not really.
Yeah, pescatarian maybe. But it was really good. Like it. From the last time I was there, I knew like Italian cheese and tomatoes, and they're like it's such simple ingredients, but they do it so well.
Yeah, olive oil.
Yeah,
so good
stuff. It's just one of those like you can get those things here, but it just doesn't taste like how it does there for some reason,
Yeah, and I thought about asking you guys about the food and stuff because like I picked up a bottle of wine that Aaron brought back.
Yeah,
and he's like, that bottle of wine is $8. It's so good.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that's crazy here. Like, you would not find a good bottle of wine for just $8.
Yeah, I bought 2 bottles of olive oil. One that was like a $6 bottle, and one that was like a $12 bottle. The Monos, like that one is like $12, and it's like like $12 for olive oil, but it's like the best olive oil that you've ever had.
Yes.
Oh my gosh,
pretty amazing. But for that, like I would have gladly paid double. Like, don't get any ideas, Italy, but I'm just saying. Don't charge me double next time. But I'm just saying. Yeah. I would have.
Everything was so affordable there.
And because the dollar is so strong now, as far as exchange rate, like it was relatively
almost
cheap.
1-to-1.
Yeah, it was relatively cheap to get food and aside from that, pucce, I think that's what it's called, Pucce. It's basically this kind of puff pastry bread thing that they cut in half and they just stuff it with all kinds of like meats, cheeses, like arugula and tomatoes. I had one where it's like they wrap the sun-dried tomatoes in the prosciutto, and then some like spicy cheese and tomatoes. And that's just whatever that lady put in there. It's gotta be like, I don't know. It's Italian love, I guess.
It was a tiny like mom and pop shop.
Yeah,
that makes
I ate there like 3 or 4 times. I swear to God, it was so good.
Awesome.
It was so good. A sleeper that I had was like from this tiny little cafe because in Italy, like, breakfast is not necessarily a thing there. Like they just like to have coffee with a little pastry. Mm-hmm. But as an American, I'm like, yo, where's like the pancakes?
Eggs.
Where's the eggs? Where's all that stuff? But there's a little cafe that I passed by, and it's like pancakes with prosciutto. I was like, what the heck? So it was like pancake. And there was a prosciutto on top, and another pancake, and then like on top of that was like burrata cheese. Like it's kind of like mozzarella, but like it like explodes like it's like a liquid thing that and it went all over, and they put like arugula and tomato. So it's just like everything that I've been eating for the past 4 days, but adding pancakes in the middle, like hotcakes, tiny little pancakes. It was great. I was like, that's what I wanted. I wanted an Italian thing, but give me pancakes. It's an American.
And it's like, hey, look, Doc, tomatoes, vegetables. It's healthy. It's
but the amount of walking that I did, I think made up for all the food that I was eating, all the. But it was really good. Like food was awesome, Kai. I mean, pizza was really good, pasta was really good, but I think the standout was that first night. That vegetarian meal and the puche from that tiny mom and pop store.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, and after a while, because we went so much, they just knew us already. Maybe we exchange. I go to Hawaii, you stay here. I was like, it's got a little tempting, but I know you're joking, but it's really cool, really cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess we'll just get into it then.
Yeah.
So
first, does the audience have any questions?
I guess we do have some questions.
There was one question for Kahai.
Okay.
I wasn't even gonna ask this one because it is a question for
what is the question? I mean, you're here too. You can answer questions.
It's not. Aaron said this because it's like, what high-end headphones do you recommend?
Definitely a Kahai question.
Yeah.
Depends on your budget. Start off with Sennheiser's 560s up to 600s. Those are standards. Yep.
Yeah.
Let's just move on.
Or what's the headphones that you are currently using?
Really?
Just get into it, man. You gotta flex a little bit. Flex on him, flex on him, buddy.
Guys, I spent too much money.
Flex on him, buddy. Flex on him. What's the headphones?
He doesn't want to admit.
With what preamp?
No, I'm not preamp. Okay. The headphone I use is called a Focal Clear, and it's $800. I'll just say that. Let's move on. Okay.
Okay, next question.
So Judge Too Good said, what gear did you guys take? And then also Andre said, after your trip to Italy, you will certainly have good tips and experiences about optimal travel tips with the ukulele. Would a travel ukulele be enough, and what equipment did you need?
Very good question. So, based on the first question, like what kind of equipment did I bring? I run super thin, honestly. Like I have my ukulele, but it's in a pretty hefty case. Like it's in a Calton case. So Calton provides like a really good support and protection for my ukulele, so that if I don't get too bored with it on the plane, and for some reason I gotta check it in, it should be no problem, because of the protection of the case. So that's a really good case, especially if you're traveling internationally, because you just never know, But as far as gear goes, it was just I knew that I wasn't going to be able to use my own microphone, but I sometimes like to bring my own microphone. But every tour that I did that, I've forgotten my microphone. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to use the regular microphones that they have. So I didn't bring one. I usually do. But this time I just ran with 2 1/4-inch wires and 1 DI. That's it. I ran super, super thin on this one. And, more room to bring more olive oil back. No, but I knew that there were going to be DIs on stage. And I knew there was going to be a mic on stage. And, I'm not I don't need to launch a spaceship on stage. So I don't need to bring this pedal with this whatever reverb and this this delay and this distortion and whatever. I'm just not that kind of player. There are players that are like that sound amazing. Feng Yi, just blew the roof off the place with his pedal work and his incredible skills. Not just his pedal work, but his skills, raw skills are really, really, really good as well. Puts on an amazing show. But then for us, Aaron and I are we've said it many, many, many times before, we're like a bar band, we don't necessarily need all that stuff. If I can just plug my ukulele in, and if people can hear my ukulele, I don't necessarily need any more than that. Okay, so the pedal that I brought is actually a DI, which is an LR Bags Venue DI, but I use it not as a DI, but as just an EQ for my ukulele, and a tuner and a boost. Okay, so it has a boost. So if I need to do a picking and I need to be like a few decibels louder, so the picking can come out, that's what I mainly use it for. Okay. And then like I can tune it, and it mutes it so that I can tune and the audience doesn't have to hear me go. It's like it's just I'm still doing it, but I'm doing it while I'm speaking, so that the audience doesn't necessarily hear like me trying to tune my ukulele. They see me doing it, but I'm still trying to entertain by just talking. And then it comes with an EQ. Okay, so and gain control and all that stuff, because I don't have onboard controls on my ukulele. It's just the active pickup. I don't necessarily like to put like the big holes you can have like onboard controls and stuff. I have it on the on that pedal. So the Venue DI, that's it. It was 2/4 inches so that I could plug my ukulele, 1/4 inch to plug my ukulele to the Venue DI. And then another 1/4 inch from the Venue DI out to the actual DI box on stage.
Or
that's it.
Like if you're running to like another event or whatever, it's like from your DI to whatever soundboard they have or whatever the controller they have. But can you pick up that DI and quickly explain what a DI is for people who don't know?
Yes, a DI is a direct input. So this is a DI. This is a JDI from Radial. That's just the brand. Passive direct box. So what it is basically a microphone for your instrument. Okay. There's inputs and through and lift and ground and all that good stuff. And then on the other side, it comes out as XLR out. Okay, so it's a 1/4 inch in, then XLR out. XLR out, so you get a good signal, and you're not just going 1/4 inch, the high hertz going to the board and the high hertz, right? It's a nice and balanced signal going to the board. Okay, and
XLR is grounded.
Yeah, so grounded. Yeah,
it's kind of audio people like XLR just because it's like a safer signal to use, just in case. But nothing wrong with a 1/4 inch.
Yeah. So I just kind of like it because it also acts like a microphone for your ukulele. If you're just going ukulele straight into the board, then it's less power or less signal that you're gonna get. If you go through a DI, it'll kind of boost that signal and make it a little bit more cleaner. And it also depends on the DI that you're using. Okay, because you're coming out XLR out, it boosts that signal a little bit. Specifically for those people who have like passive ukuleles, that signal is just not strong enough, to get you those, to those volumes that are needed. Because if they crank up the volume, there's a chance you might get feedback out of your ukulele. So using a DI is a good idea. Yeah. Okay,
or not an actual microphone, because you still need a pickup to go into the DI. Right. But it's almost like a amplifier. I guess.
Yes. They just kind of use that. That's just how I've always I've imagined it that way. It's like this is your ukulele's like mic. That's like the signal that it goes from your instruments out of the wire. It goes to this, which then goes to the board. Kind of like how when you sing, the microphone is there, and then the microphone is plugged in, goes to that goes to the board. It's like a way of getting that signal to the board. So that's what like a DI is. And the Venue DI works both ways. It can work as an XLR out, as an actual DI, or as a through, which is what I used it for. Because I feel that like my active ukulele pickup to the active DI sends too much of a signal, because the Venue is an active DI, whereas this one is a passive, so you can see that's passive direct box.
Yeah, so that one doesn't have a battery.
Doesn't have a battery.
But the Venue DI, LR Bags Venue.
And it doesn't need to be powered or anything like that. So they have, I think, like XDIs. Like Radial does make like active ones if you're looking to get an active DI. But this has been like our tried and true for Ukulele Underground. I used to carry this around for my setup. But I've just been using the just to make it easier for like the sound guy, so I don't be like, okay, now like use this and use my mic. I just don't want to come off and give off a diva vibe.
Yeah, and then for like the board itself too, some sound guys will be like, oh, can I get an XLR out from your instrument into mine to make it like a better signal?
Yeah.
Or some will just be like, no, just pass me the straight, 1/4 inch and I'll just take it.
Right. So just to make it easy for the sound guys, I kind of stripped a lot of the stuff that I bring, like the microphone, the DI and stuff. It's just really running as thin as possible. And I don't know. And I was telling people that like I don't like running too much effects on my ukulele now because I want to play as pure ukulele as possible, so that when we do certain certain tricks or certain songs and whatever, they know that it's not the effect that's making that sound. It's just a pure ukulele with no effects on it. It's making all the sounds that I'm creating. So whether it be a percussive thing or whatever, but not saying that like there's no skill in using pedals. There's definitely lots and lots of skills using pedals and lots of knowledge that you need to know. Like I learned a thing or two from Feng Yi when I was there. Like he has he's pretty old, so he doesn't mind. I'm pretty sure he doesn't mind me sharing, but like he has 2 pickups like on his ukulele, or one
2 pickups and then 2 outputs, like 2 jacks coming out.
Two outputs, 2 jacks that you gotta do, and then like he it goes into one, he
has like a plug-in
Y cable.
Oh yeah. Oh, is that what he does?
So it's like it's 2 male quarters to a 1 male quarter out.
I thought it was he just plugs it into different chains in his pedal setup, and then he told me that he has 3 outputs from his pedals.
Oh, okay. I just saw that he was like he had 1, but like that makes more sense. But like so having 2, because what he does is he has one that's like I think on the undersaddle, and he has a passive one for his for when he does percussive stuff.
Yeah.
So that like he can turn up say the lows on the passive one, so that when he hits like these kind of bass bass hits percussively, it doesn't affect the sound of the actual
strings,
strings and pickup and stuff. It's just what's what he's doing with the with the percussive stuff.
It's like basically like if you're playing a bass drum, it's like you don't need all that like high information from high frequency information, so you can just turn all of that down.
So I think he runs that through a separate pedal chain. So that's why his pedal board was like four pedals deep or something.
That's why it takes like lots of skill, and then because I used to do it. Okay, and what I hated was like you finally get like the right chain, and then you hear this noise, and you're like, where is it coming from? And it's so frustrating, and it drove me mad. Like, and like I think I stopped using it while I was dating Heather, but like maybe my parents, I was driving somebody mad, where like I was just upset for like no reason. And I mean, there was a reason, but no one knew. And I didn't want to say what the reason why I was mad, because it just sounded so dumb, like, because I hear this low hum and I don't know where it's coming from. And like, and if I mix this or if I change this around, like it's not going to sound like how I want it to sound, It's just,
if you put the pedals in a different order, it's not the sound that you want.
I just didn't like who I was becoming.
People complain, right, where it's like, oh, rock stars aren't real anymore, because if you look at their like big amps and stuff, it's just empty cabinets. There's like nothing behind it. But they're like, but we only run our cable out to like a computer or whatever, and then that runs our entire sound setup. Like we don't have to worry about it at all.
Shapes it.
You don't have to worry about the patch cables. Like
oh my god, dude. It drove me crazy.
For everything you add, right? That's just like a point of failure in the future. Where it's like if that goes out, it's like, oh my gosh, what is this thing? So I think a lot of musicians go that route where it's like, let's just simplify it. Let's just make it as easy as we can, right?
Yeah, and then like the more you add, the more the more pedals cost more money, and then more pedals means you need more power. So that also costs more money to have like certain like watts to like power up your your spaceship. Basically, it's just. And like it was like 50 pounds, you know, like, and for I would have to dedicate an entire suitcase just for my pedals, you know. And now, like, with the airline prices being jacked up and like, and you got to pay like X amount for like just for
Extra
one
bags.
luggage for extra bags and stuff, I just didn't want to deal with it anymore. So I'm like, you know what, just learn to play acoustically and like just play the ukulele really well, that you don't need to do the, you know, do the pedal thing, and or like come up with a show that like highlights the no pedal thing, you know. And that's what I've come up with, and it's been a lot better, like a lot. I'm less mad. I'm less upset. Seriously, like you figure out like the right daisy chain, you know, of like, okay, it sounds good. Like this is feeding off of this, feeding off of that, and whatever. Like combined with this, and then this multi with this like single one, you know. And then like, oh my god, what does that sound?
I used to bring my like line 6 pedal board to school. And then it's like when you stop bringing it, it's like all of a sudden, oh, my shoulders feel a lot better. Like, you know,
there was one time where I traveled. Like, I'm like, you know what? It's just a quick mainland trip, not like an international one. So maybe I'll use the Reunion Blues bag, you know, rather than the Calton case. And it was like, oh my god, like my shoulders, feel so free, and it doesn't seem like I'm carrying, you know, like another suitcase.
Yeah. And when you experience that, it's like, okay, so I'm not going to get like maybe 10-20% of my sound with all the delay and reverb and stuff. But my back is not going to hurt. Oh, that trade-off is pretty good.
Yeah. So what about you, Aaron? What's your gear?
I brought a cable, but I didn't even use it because I used the on-stage cable.
Yeah.
The sound guys were fantastic.
Yeah.
What
about hands down?
Yeah, they had a full sound team. And they just took care of everything.
The sound on stage with like the, you know, for at least for mine, the monitor didn't sound that well, but I knew it sounded good out there. So like I was just like, as long as I can kind of hear it myself, like on the monitor, it should be fine because I trust. And then like when I saw and heard the recordings back, I'm like, yeah, I was right to trust them, because every other act that I saw that went up sounded amazing. So I was not scared.
Did you bring a DI, or do you usually use a DI? Though?
No.
You just go straight.
I haven't been. Yeah, lately I haven't been. So
you did before. What's a DI that you use? Is it Eller bags? What's it called?
Yeah, I don't know, whatever the one that's that profile.
Yeah, but then
I forget what it's called.
That also had like an EQ in it. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't use it anymore.
So so you ran light also,
simple.
you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I had to carry a guitar.
But it's not even like a full size guitar.
Yeah. So that's why I also brought that tiny, the nano ukulele.
Yeah.
Because it's an ukulele festival and I want to participate. But I don't want to have to bring 2 instruments.
Yeah.
If you could bring like it's so hard though, right? Like having that guitar to like back you up, or it's like such a good backup instrument. But it's like, if you could replace that with a uke, would you rather do that and bring that to like festivals and stuff? Perform that way too?
Yeah, but it wouldn't be able to replicate the
feel
sound.
that same space, right?
Yeah. All right. So do we have another question, or should we just?
Yeah, I guess like maybe really quick. We'll ask this one.
Yeah. Okay.
So Andre said, "Thank you for the experience with the ukulele. I once had the experience that the best technology was of no use if I used cables that were too cheap. What cables do you actually use?" Cheap
cables. I used to use like expensive. I mean, not like the $5 Amazon specials, but like $10 Amazon special. No. No, I don't use them anymore. I used to, you know, and I did get clean signals. I could hear the difference, but like, you know, does the audience care? Like, I guess at the end of the day, I think I would use expensive cables if I was running like, you know, like a pedal board and stuff, because you want clean signals so you don't get upset, you know, when you hear hums and stuff. But if you're running as light as I am, it doesn't really matter, because it's more like your ukulele itself. Because if the ukulele, you know, playing and the ukulele signal is not that clean, and if your playing is not that clean, doesn't matter if you have like $1 million cable, but people are just gonna hear those $1 million mistakes that you're making, right? You know, or that or if you have a passive ukulele and it's just humming, there's like these undertones or whatever, it's just gonna amplify that undertone by $1,000,000, so
Yeah.
it's that, like, I think I realized that, like, okay, well, I hear the difference. If I was in the studio and had to plug in that, I would definitely use like higher end cables, but higher end cables for me now just doesn't seem worth it as much as it did when I was younger. I don't know. Maybe it's just my age, like showing that, like, just play, But I'm pretty sure if, like those, there are definitely like artists who are like full perfectionists that like really want like the cleanest, best sound and stuff. But for me, since I play dirty anyway, it doesn't really matter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
You want to do some more questions?
Now let's talk about the festival a little bit. So Mauro and Salvo, the people who put it together, really did an amazing job. So to kind of paint you guys a picture of what the festival was, it was 4 days, but technically it was 5 days because they held an event. So it was Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but they held an event on Wednesday that anybody could just go to. It's supposed to be like for festival goers and for artists, but then it was just open to everyone, and they had like free booze and free food and stuff. It was a grand time, and was it Ukulele Tuesdays? Is that what they were called? Mm-hmm. Like Ukulele Tuesdays from Ireland. Oh my God, they were so good. And they played the hits, and they were only supposed to play like 5 songs, like out of their own set, and then the rest of it is supposed to be like play along songs. But no, like they did play their 5 songs, but all the play along songs were like heavy hitters that are like, I don't care if it's like more than 3 chords or whatever. Like everyone just follow along as best as you can, Like it was a great time. I had a great time. Like, if you guys follow me on Instagram, I was like on the second floor looking down, like, and dancing and having a good time. I was hanging out with Pete Moss and George Elms, like upstairs, and we're just talking about those songs and whatever, and just talking about ukulele in general. It was a good time. But I think they played like 3 hours. They had a 3-hour show that night. It felt like 3 hours, and I was like,
it was just for us, right?
Yeah, I was engaged for like 3 hours. Yeah. It was awesome. Like they did a really good job, and they're such a high energy band. So I don't know how you could do that for 3 hours, man. That's insane. And then Thursday night there was like a beach party for like the opening night of Monopolele. And the beach party had Pete Moss and George Elms. They played. They opened up for Feng Yi. And then Feng Yi did his set. So Pete Moss and George just kind of played like just a simple set to kind of get the crowd into it. That's what Mauro and Salvo asked them to do. To just get people like in the mood for ukulele. And they did just that. They were awesome. They were playing, they did Sweet Caroline. They did like I'm Yours, like the hits to kind of get people into it, and then you just hype people up. And then Feng Yi just took everyone to the moon. It was insane. His set was so good. Like anything from originals to Interstellar to Jimi Hendrix to just good stuff. Just he played all the crazy songs, and he was so good at it. And then like a local Italian band finished the set. Mm-hmm. I went home after their first couple songs, but they sounded really good.
Mm-hmm.
You
reggae.
Stayed, yeah? Reggae band.
Yeah.
You stayed, right?
Yeah.
How's that? So you tell about that band. I wasn't there for the whole thing.
Yeah, they had I was mostly, I mean, they had a trumpet player who was using the mute really well.
Nice.
It wasn't just stick the mute in the bell and let it go. He was using it expressively, holding the mute in his hand and using it
a wah pedal.
Expressively, because it's reggae. And then the lead singer was playing ukulele, and then I was most impressed, I think, by the bass player. So he was playing a regular Kala U bass with the gummy strings, but somehow his tone sounded so great, sounded like an electric bass.
Yeah.
I don't know how he contoured that sound, but it was nice. Punchy. And then he also pulled out the sousaphone, and he was using that as his bass. So he was like a full size sousaphone. He was a bigger guy, but he was playing the sousaphone of like bass lines on the sousaphone for their reggae band, and it was like, I don't know, just engaging.
That sounds cool. It sounds like because over here we have like the Kauai style of reggae. If you hear like a Kauai reggae band, but that sounds like kind of more of like almost that older style reggae.
Oh, can you pull up the schedule for the stuff so that I'm not like failing at what people are called, what their names are, because they should get some credit. Like that band was called, they don't have the
Veeble. Yeah.
That program.
Veeble. Veeble.
Yeah, there it is. So the Ukulele Beach Party, George Elms, Pete Moss, and then Veeble played after. So Veeble, that was that. It was at Porto Rosso. the beach is called Porto Rosso. It was awesome. Like they built like this stage thing, and like the sound was still like really clear and really good, even though it's like outside. It was insane. And then like afterwards they had a jam at the beach at La Perlanera, and they did that every night. And they would do it till like 3, 4 in the morning. And I don't know how they can do that and then start the festival at like 9 a.m. You know? So it's insane. So then the next day was the actual the festival ground. So it wasn't at the beach or whatever. So the next day was Friday. It kicked off with the daytime there was like workshops, and there was like vendors and stuff at this like awesome kind of church like venue thing that they had, which is like multiple stories, which is where the introduction night was held with Ukulele Tuesdays. So they had like, Ukulele 101, Sunset Special with Adriano Bono. There's like all these, all like amazing workshops that there was there. Yeah. There's an ukulele parade that they did where like they would like walk around Old Town, like everyone playing ukulele, like a flash mob almost. It was awesome. And it was cool. It's cool. And then that night, Evan J. De Silva, kick things off, and he was amazing. And he's like 19 from Singapore, and plays like a 90-year-old. He's so mature for his age as far as playing. And his note choices, his sense of like musicianship, a lot.
He's just like a seasoned musician, but he's still got like a lot more.
Amazing.
It's gonna be amazing to see what he's doing in like 5 years.
And then Victor Joffrey, like he went up. He had his like Tahitian uke that he was playing that he made.
He had a booth.
He had a booth where he was doing his Tahitian ukuleles. He did a set. He was awesome as well. Sang, played his ukulele and whatever. And then afterwards, Sinfonico Honolulu, which is another like although Honolulu's in the name, they're actually a local like Italian group, reminiscent of like Ukulele Orchestra of Great Britain, like something like that, like where they wear the suits and they have different parts and stuff. It's a good time. The next day, same thing, workshops in the in the morning time, including my workshop. I did a workshop where like I did like my favorite riffs. It ran a little bit long. Sorry to the Calicos, because they had a web not webinar, but they had a workshop after us. So I taught stuff like Buttercup, like loud phrases, the intro to like to Singer Victor, things like that. So I did that workshop there, and then they had another ukulele parade, and then during at the concert they had Kathy and Marcy kick things off. And like they've written songs for people who also won Grammys, so it's insane. Like they're as pro as it gets. Like seriously, there's some of the best performers, like best chops for like if you close your eyes, you're like that's being done by like a 20-something-year-old. Like it's insane.
Once they get going, because like all of that, they play all different instruments. But I think was it Kathy is like primarily a
claw hammer,
like, banjo player.
Banjo.
So like all of that stuff she translates flawlessly to the ukulele, and then once she gets going, it's like just taking off.
Insane. And then so that was the night like when we played, and then Jed Balak came out, which is like it's like the non-ukulele like performers. Like they didn't have an ukulele in their set, but they had like other like kind of traditional instruments, and Mauro and Salvo kind of wanted to showcase that like it's
Cousins
not just you,
of the ukulele.
cousins of the ukulele, and all these like lesser known instruments and what they can do. And they were like, how do I explain this? It was like it was very almost like Middle Eastern, like kind of sounds and scales, but then rock and metal. Dude, it was like they called it hypnotic ethno rock, but it was insane. Like it was insane, and they were just like rocking out with the distortions and stuff. I'm like, so I'm looking at Aaron. I'm like, Aaron, let's stick to the plan. Let's just do our set.
Yeah.
Like, because normally, so I don't know, like my seasoned veteran would definitely, being a seasoned veteran showed like that, that night, because normally in my 20s, if that, I was like, okay, well then I gotta rock out too. I gotta rock out twice as hard, But then I was like, no, Aaron, let's just stick to the plan. Let's do our set. They did their set. They can't out rock them because they rock super duper hard, But let's just do our version of what rocking out is, and let's just stick to that, and I think people will get the vibe that we're trying to put out. And Luca, like bless this man, because he had the nicest thing to say. Like after we played, he came up to Evan, because during our set, Evan and Feng Yi. Like after our set was done, like our Hana Ho, or like our encore, was Evan J. Da Silva and Feng Yi coming up, and we're playing Hotel California, and in the end we're like they're doing their solos like through one set of the chord changes, and then at the end we're doing like harmonies on the up.
Don't play too much.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so we did that, and it was amazing, and the crowd wanted more. I'm like, we only worked out that one,
Yeah, we only talked to them about playing that song.
Yeah, Feng was definitely busy like the whole time. Like we couldn't really practice much. We didn't practice with Feng at all.
Yeah,
Frank just came up and killed it,
killed it, yeah.
And we actually had to have a backup plan just in case Feng couldn't do it. And then so I came up with Little Wing, because I'm like
on the spot.
Yeah, because I was like, the only other song maybe we can do like Breeze In or whatever, but then I would have to kind of explain that C minor part, and I didn't want to be destroyed by two kids. Like they were so good. If we played Breeze In, I'm like, I'm definitely gonna get exposed, for not being as good as they are. But you can't compete with the youth, man. The youth's it's amazing. They're so good. Honestly, they're so good. And afterwards, it was so surreal. That was like my favorite part of the whole festival, was being able to kind of big brother, these two amazing performers, just kind of show them that hey, it was almost like a passing of the torch. I was this, the last generation, you guys, it's you guys now,
Yeah. Oh, I think you mentioned earlier that the event organizer was gonna say something, but you didn't say what that event.
Oh no. So Luca, yeah. So I had to kind of explain that part first. So Luca comes up, and he's not one of the organizers, but Luca is he works with Aquila, and he works over at Mercatino del Ukulele in Italy. And he was one of the guys who brought me over to Italy the first time, when we did the Ukulele Festival. And then come to find out, Luca tells me that it was actually him that was campaigning for us to go to Monopolele. And our names have come up, but then Mauro and Salvo was like, okay, well he is he's one of the masters and stuff. But then we have a lot of stuff already. We have people who are technical. We have people that sing. What does how is it kind of different or whatever? But then Luca's you just gotta trust me. Aldrine has heart. That's what he has. And so when we got off stage, like he approached us, and I was still with with Evan and Feng, and then Luca is like. He's like, you guys are, and he tells the two kids, you guys are so lucky, like to have had this kind of passing of the torch moment with Aldrine, because what Aldrine has that people need to understand is, and then he took his hand and he placed it onto my heart, and he's like, it's that. It's not so much like who can play the fastest, who can play the most notes and whatever. It's like it's this. It's like that's what what's kind of like the vibe that he puts out and whatever. And he's like, it's not just through the performances, it's not just through the videos and whatever. It's like in how and he was kind of telling the kids it's how he carries himself outside, as well, and and how he talks to the people, the festival goers, how he's like open to sharing anything that he has, knowledge or whatever. And and Evans is kind of throughout this whole time hanging out with Aldrine and Aaron, and he was saying that that's kind of the vibe that that he got, that Aldrine was this wealth of information that he could just ask, but I thought of it as just kind of I was just trying to play the big brother role, because I've done this stuff before. I've done these festivals, I've done whatever, and I kind of wanted to show them that hey, yes, your set is your set, and you should definitely kill it and whatever. But ukulele is about at least ukulele festivals. It is about camaraderie. It's about the love for about the love for the instrument. The reason why festivals are put together is so that people can celebrate these instruments together. No
matter what your level you're at.
No matter what level you're at, it's about celebrating this tiny, amazing instrument that brought us this much joy, enough joy to put together an entire festival halfway across the world, from its origin, you know what I mean? And it's that, and I, the way that Luca just kind of it very, very seriously explain to them that that's what it's about, what just happened is what it's about. It's not Aldrine could have just played a set, could have done whatever, I mean, fine, but because he knew this would not only come off with a good show, it would provide a good hanho or whatever, but it also promotes the camaraderie, that the every festival is trying to promote. And that's what I've learned, because I've traveled to Asia with some of the best of them, with Rio, with Kios, with Kale Gamiao, with Bruce, and I've been taught under Jake, and it's playing together that's going to keep the ukulele moving forward. It's learning from each other, and in sharing that love for this this instrument. It really is that. So if there's anything that I can pass on, it's that. It's just you definitely should, as an individual artist, give your best, do your best, and get better and better, and take this ukulele thing to the next level, but never ever forget that we are there to celebrate the instrument together. As a community, as an ukulele community. And that's why I brought those two up to kind of showcase that hey, yes, we all sound great as individuals, but look what we can do together as well. And I think that, I hope that left enough of a lasting impression on those two, that when they go to a festival, that they would want to collaborate with the other artists, and they want to show that same kind of camaraderie, or at least even if it's not on stage, off stage, they just kind of dine together, eat and hang out and whatever. It's not we're not in competition at all, I don't think, because we're all individual artists, and I think art is subjective enough that we have our own thing as artists, that's really, we should celebrate the instrument and lift it together.
Yeah.
And
so especially Evan too. I think I was sort of watching him, and I think he really got it, because the way that because it's obvious you wouldn't be there if the fans didn't come out, or if you're there for them, and so the way that you were thanking the fans for like, oh, even like letting me sign your ukulele, and so like I was watching Evan and I could tell that he got it too, whereas like he had that same appreciation for the people who the festival goers, for the people who put on the festival, just thanking them for everything, and even us, like, we're just thankful that we get to do that. That selfishly, we just wanted to play music with them on stage. So they said yes. So it's
but that was my intention, because like the first time, like I think that night's it was the open mic, because I was like, oh, do you guys like want to go like do an open mic song together, like the three of us, because it would also, because the reason why I said that is because it would show the festival goers that like, hey, us as artists, we want to join in with with everybody else, because we're all fans of ukulele. We want to do an open mic, and in this format we can do anything, right? If the
don't have to be serious.
Yeah, we don't have to be serious. We can go up and play a set. But I'm like, no, I think we should take it like on the main stage, So I'm like, dude, why don't you guys just play on my set? Like, because you guys need your set to showcase who you are, and to really show what you guys can do and stuff. And I have, I think if you guys come up on my set, it would be like a lot more meaningful, because it's it's like, hey, here's like here's these dudes and
remember these guys from the past 2 nights? Like, we're gonna just do something.
We're just gonna
fun.
jam. We're gonna have fun with the instrument, and we want you guys to see how much fun we're having, and like what kind of fun this instrument really brings. Like that was my intention. It was just so. And if you watch like the videos, because there's definitely videos out there, like of that performance. I just couldn't stop smiling. I was just so happy, like being able to like. To share the stage with like with two very 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 high level like ukulele players, but also two just good dudes, like just good gentlemen, good kids, like good up and comers, like and we told them that like we told Evan and Fang that like, hey, with that, we know, because we've been doing this for so long. With you guys doing this, we know that the ukulele is in good hands. Yeah. With the next generation, the ukulele is in good hands. Mm-hmm. So the festival, yes, was amazing, but like because I got to do that and I got to kind of showcase the like the ukulele love, basically, and that I was more proud of that than anything. I think it was, that moments in the whole in our whole set. I think that was really special for me. Yeah.
Oh, I want to stick this in just at the very end. We were able to hang out with like speaking of festival goers, like we were able to hang out with people from all over the place. Yes. So it's like we especially like just that first night, we ran into some German fans who were like Kahai fan club.
Uke Supply.
Ukulele supply store. They're basically like
can we mention like what you told them and when you told them like about the sticker?
So I gave them Kahai fan club stickers. And
Where is it?
It's
under the shirt maybe.
So I every time that I go to a festival, I carry maybe just like a handful of these, and anybody that mentions that they listen to the podcast or whatever, I'll hand out like whatever I brought. So I gave them some Kahai fan club stickers, and I told them that this is my like it wasn't is not licensed, like I just bootlegged these stickers, like I created them myself without Kai's permission. And then they were kind of like we don't want to do anything that makes Kahai mad. Like they didn't want to accept it because but they did take a picture with us, and they had it, they put Kahai's face next to their heart because they wanted Kahai to be close to their hearts. So
jokingly, after you sent that, and you're like, they said like, we don't want Kahai to be mad at us, or like, we don't, if it's done without I wanted to be like, at least somebody respects my.
Yeah, they're like usually on the podcast we're on Kahai's side. We side with Kahai. And so,
yeah, but that's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Like
Thanks,
that's
guys.
it's supposed to be good cop, bad cop. That's what the show is, you know.
yeah. So yeah, they mentioned that they listen to like at least the replays of the podcast and some of the
So
jams
shout
and
out
stuff.
to Uke Supply.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, like before we left for Italy, just my mom mentioned to me that my grandpa who fought in World War II was stationed in Italy because he was Japanese American. I mean, Hawaii was only a territory at the time, so he was like technically an American, but it was like a
Yeah.
territorial
Yeah.
American. And so yeah, he was a Japanese American fighting for the American side, and he was stationed in Italy because they can't send them to Japan, right? Like it'd be too confusing. And so my grandpa was stationed in Italy during World War II. So it wasn't until maybe like that night that we played at the festival, and I realized that this entire time I'd been hanging out with German friends and Italian friends, and there were some Austrian friends that we met too.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, like, you know, it just
It wasn't lost on you.
yeah, it definitely wasn't lost on me the fact that I was able to go to basically the first of my grandpa's descendants to ever return to Italy, like since he was there.
Yeah.
And I was able to go there to spread peace instead of war,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And it's like I had friends that were German and Italian and Austrian, and they weren't firing at me. You know, I was able to like have that camaraderie, friendship, and like play music, have this mutual love of an instrument, like you know, from a world away.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that was I kind of soaked that in, you know, especially that night. And then just so happened, when I came back, I came back home and I was telling my parents about that. My mom started pulling up some stuff. She had my grandpa's discharge papers, which didn't have too much information, but I started looking through our old photo albums because my grandpa had a photo album that he captioned himself. And he mentioned the company, like the unit, because he was part of the 442nd, which was an all Japanese unit. But most of the captains were at least like white, you know, captains. But he was part of a unit that had a Japanese captain. I think the only one in the entire World War II, you know, like the United States Army. And I found out that the day that they arrived in Italy, it was like chicken skin moment. Like, so the day that they arrived in Italy was May 28th, 1944. And the day that we arrived in Italy was May 28th, 2024. So exactly 80 years later to the day.
Yeah.
And it was almost like like fate. Like I had to go back to Italy in order to, you know, like make it, or I don't know if it was like reparation for like the things that, you know, and it was like it was pretty amazing, or just, you know, kind of complete the circle. The fact that we're able to do this is pretty amazing. So yeah,
it's chicken skin. That's exactly what we're talking about. It's the camaraderie, you know. And like at first, like we were trying to feel each other out. Like, oh, should we like bring up the, you know, and it was fine. Like we talked about like, okay, well during the like, during
everybody
the wars,
knows history.
Yeah, everyone knows history. We're not
So-
gonna ignore it or whatever. But like that didn't stop us from like, you know, from talking, having fun, like you know, breaking bread together. It was awesome.
And basically like what we were saying was like we met each other. And then just instant friends, like, you know, like we see them at, you know, at other times during the festival, and just like pick up just like old friends, you know.
I think because like you said that it's like cool that Fang and Jason are that they're like good players, but I think it was cool that you said that they're just like good people. And like no matter like how good skill wise you are when you play with somebody, if they're just like nice to be around, they're just like a good person, it's always gonna be fun, like no matter what you play, right? It doesn't have to be like complicated or like be crazy. So it's like, oh, it's just fun to jam with good people.
Yeah, and we hung out with Evan and his brother like
pretty much
the whole time
yeah,
too.
the whole time.
Yeah, super cool.
Just Asians in Italy.
Cool guys. Yeah.
But yeah, we hung out with everybody though. Like
Yeah.
I ate with the time that you didn't feel well.
Yeah.
Like I ate with Pete and George.
Yeah,
that was a good
George.
time. We were just kind of talking story and stuff, and then afterwards I met up with with Evan folks. It was good.
Yeah, basically everybody there.
Yeah.
Good vibes all
Good,
around.
Good, very good vibes.
think-
Very good vibes.
Weren't you telling me, was it the Italian ukulele maker, or it must be the Italian ukulele maker, right? Where it's like he couldn't even really speak English or do stuff, but then you would say a word and he'd be like, "Oh yeah, that word."
Yeah. I feel like most Italians understand English,
Yeah.
and then they're not super confident in their own English.
Yeah.
But he could speak English, fairly well. But there were just certain things because he was a luthier. He's a Italian luthier. Francesco, I think, Virginelli. Yeah,
He had
and
a
so
workshop.
so he was trying to explain certain term, like he was explaining his process of
Yeah.
building ukuleles to me, and he would be talking about something and he didn't know the English word for it, and then I would like fill in the gap, and he was like, yeah, that's totally it. So it's pretty neat just because like we're able to bond over these these things that we get super dorky about, right? Like ukulele and like building ukuleles, playing ukuleles.
Yeah.
Like we can come together on the other side of the world and still nerd out about the same
Yeah.
things. So.
I feel like it is like reassuring to have that common ground of like, oh, you're from the same place that I am, you speak the same language, but it's cool that it's like you don't need that even really
Yeah.
to bond with somebody
Yeah.
else, right?
Let's finish out the festival. So that was Saturday night that we played. But then there's one last night. So the last night, can you go to the thing? It was opened up by Pisco. I think they were called Pisco. So they're from Portugal.
Yeah.
And like home of the Briguinha.
Yeah, predecessor to the ukulele.
Yeah, the fathers of the ukulele. So they did an amazing show. Like it was like a concept album that they showed in the show. So it was kind of like. I wish I could understand, like what they were singing about, but it was great.
Still
Like
great.
the bird, and it was cool, man.
Yeah.
So Pisco.
So it was ukulele and accordion
Yeah.
duo.
Yeah, they were great. They were really good. And Trio Mandili, they're three girls, and they played. They're playing, and their harmony like super on it, and like the whole performance, like everything. It reminded me of like a European. If there were like three Taimanes,
I was kind of getting that vibe too.
Three Taimanes, and they were like in sync with each other. It was amazing. Like the whole production, like the costumes, the playing, the
They're from
harmonies.
Georgia, the country.
Yeah. It was great. It was great.
And that was another one where it was like a cousin to the ukulele, because that wasn't an ukulele that she was playing, but it's like a Georgian instrument, I guess.
Yeah, that sounds it sounds cool, like that the organizers had that in mind, where they're Tahitian ukulele, Brigadier, these different types of ukuleles.
And then the grand finale was George Elms and Pete Moss. So they killed it. They were so good. Like, because I was like, I was really excited to hear them, like, because I've heard Pete before, but like hearing Pete and George, and they're kind of like, they just had this idea to put us together, but it's not like we played together, before. And they put on a great show, like Pete he's just like a wizard with the strings and the strum and the rhythm. He's so good, and he's like, he had the audience eating from the palm of his hand. He's such a good showman. Like Pete is so good, and so is George. George is not a slacker either. He's amazing. I think his rhythms and his picking is really good. He taught in Taiwan for a little bit, so he's got the knowledge to back it up. And together they just killed it. And our the big festival ending was just a bunch of the artists came back up, and we did just a na 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 part on Hey Jude, and it was a good time.
Led by Peter Moss.
Led by Pete Moss and George. So it was so good. It was really, really, really such a special festival. So if you guys if you guys go to one festival next year, I would hope it's that one, because I don't even know who's playing, but I can assure you it's gonna be super fun. Just the way that they had it, it's amazing. I don't know if it's just a recency bias, because like we just came home from it, but honestly, it was one of the most fun that I've ever had.
Yeah.
Like at a festival, just with, and I've, not knocking on the other festival, because I've had good friends and good performers and good vibes from a bunch of different festivals as well. But there was just something magical about this one.
I think Aaron was telling me that it's like, some of the people there were like performers at previous festivals.
Yeah.
But they weren't even like invited for this one or to like headline or do anything. But they're just like, we just like it so much.
We just came.
Decided.
They just came. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Calico, they were I think they were performers the first year, and then they just went just because it's fun. They just did like the open mic and stuff, but
Ukulele Tuesday.
Yeah, Ukulele Tuesday, they're not part of the car, but they were like part of the intro night,
Yeah, and Lorenzo.
He played before, but then he came to just to support and stuff. So just
attend the festival.
Oh man, it was just so good. I mean, it was so good. It's so good. I can't say enough good things about it. But honestly, thank you to all the friends that we made, like that week. You guys make festivals that much more fun. Mahalo to Mauro and Salvo for putting on such an amazing event, celebrating the ukulele. It was definitely celebrated that week, and you guys showed Monopoli that ukulele is a legit instrument that is a lot of fun, has a lot of love, has a lot of heart, and thanks to the city of Monopoli, or just the area of Monopoli, you guys, it was super nice. Everybody was super nice. Like we didn't run into anyone that seemed like kind of mean. Everybody was just super nice, yeah. So down to like the mom and pop store, people. It was so good. We made tons of friends. Thank you so much for everything, everybody.
I'll just go by myself, and then I'll just go to that mom and pop store and eat that.
Yeah.
He's like, this is the only reason I'm here.
Yeah, you should tell them like, oh, my friends from Hawaii came down.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, take me with you.
Yeah.
I joked around with them. I was like, can you fit in an overhead?
Yeah.
Okay. What from Hawaii do you want me to bring so I can trade for you?
Yeah, we kind of pulled the Hawaii card a lot because it was obvious that we're not from there. So we constantly got asked like, where are you from? you know?
Yeah. People kept asking if I was from India.
Oh.
Yeah, I was like, am I that dark? I mean, I am.
Yeah.
But like, I guess, like.
Yeah, about the same shade.
Yeah, if you don't see Filipinos, you automatically like assume that shade is Indian, So it was cool. So I'm like, no, I'm from Hawaii. They're like, okay, Hawaiian. I'm like, no, I'm not Hawaiian. From Hawaii. Yeah. I'm Filipino, but
Oh, okay.
This is kind of complicated.
Yeah.
But it was a good time. I thought everyone we ran into was super, super nice. If there's anything we remember, we'll bring it up again. But for now, that's basically all we remember. The flights were great. It was awesome.
Yeah, I think we do want to give away that stuff, but maybe we'll save it for next week.
Oh, yeah. We're way past our time, and we have a meeting soon. So I'll see you folks later. I'll see you guys on Friday for Aloha Friday Live Jam. We are back on track with all our streams and all our videos. We just did a video for the ukulele solos on UU Plus, so that should be up, right? I think. Yeah, maybe, So everything's all good. We'll see you folks next time. If you guys have any questions, please let us know. Write to us over at, just go to ukuleleunderground.com. Questions at ukuleleunderground.com if you guys need to get a hold of us and want to ask us any kind of questions. And if you want to take your ukulele playing to the next level, please sign up and support us. If you like what we do, support us by signing up for UU Plus. Go to ukuleleunderground.com, sign up for UU Plus, and that allows us to keep doing what we're doing. So thank you so much to everyone who is already a member of UU Plus. You keep us running. basically. So thank you. And all the people who are not, thank those people because they keep this place around. Yeah. So thank a UU Plus member. Why don't you thank a UU Plus member? Right, Kai?
Say thank you to your local UU Plus member.
Yeah, say thank you to your local gym bills.
Yeah.
And yeah, all of you awesome subscribers. We really love you. We appreciate you. We get to do what we do because of you folks. Thank you so much. And if you're not yet a subscriber, ukuleleunderground.com. Have a great one, guys. Aloha.